All right. So thanks for letting me record this for class purposes.
Yeah.
So if you look at, and you may have done a lot of this with Google Meet. I have not, but that I'm having it transcribed as well and recorded. So I've got to turn in both of those things. But like I said, only me and the teacher will see this.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, well, we missed last week.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Man, what was
Busy.
I doing? Yeah. Yeah, it was oh, well, I finished my class. Finished in a what was it? Like leadership. Um I don't even remember what it was called. It
That's all right.
was about leadership theory and ethics
Okay.
with uh Dr. Klein. Anyways, I finished that up last week.
Nice.
Um,
A little more time on your hands, or did you start another one?
I started another one. Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. That's okay. It's all good. This new one is about it's innovation and change with Dr. Crouch, and I've really enjoyed it so far. So
Great.
yeah, because there's a lot changing at work, and I think this is going to be helpful for me as I navigate through that.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, Michael Crouch he's a good one. We go back. He was an RA in the dorm when my wife Lauren was dorm manager, and we lived in the dorm for 7 years. So he was one of the RAs, but
That's
a
awesome.
good guy.
Man.
Well, what you want to talk about today? What do you want to get out of today's session?
Yeah. Hmm, well, so maybe some ideas for this would be a good one. Some ideas for being prepared for, I guess, for Zoom meetings um, with when I'm trying to like show somebody something, um, and when I'm trying to ask a question that requires um, a some sort of like demonstration of something. Does that
Okay.
make sense? So just kind of a brainstorming session because I feel like when I have a hard time like putting together my thoughts because I have a lot of tabs open and there's a lot going on. So maybe like or maybe just talk about how to kind of get into the zone of having a conversation with somebody when there's a lot going
Yeah.
on. And then also multitasking. Um, I know it's bad and I don't like doing it. I found myself I've been doing that a lot lately because there's a lot going on. Um, so I don't know. Do you know anything about multitasking and just kind of the how maybe like how you can not do that and still keep up with everything?
I know what I read. I read that we shouldn't, but I do as well. So uh, you mentioned two things there. I mean, and we'll get back to the multitasking. That was one of the two things, and the other was basically preparing for these Zoom meetings. Who in your mind is in these Zoom meetings? Not names, but what's their roles?
Yes. Um, Today it was my managers. Um, so I had a Zoom meeting with my manager of my team, and then I had another Zoom meeting with um, the guy above him who we've talked about, and like things are so much better now. Um, and not that those meetings went poorly. I just felt like I could have been more prepared, and maybe just talking through that um, would help me think of some
Yeah.
things.
So am I hearing you to say when you're in these meetings and you got all these tabs, you're thinking about the tabs and not the content?
Yes. So it's that. Um, and then sometimes I do have what I want to talk about ready. And then so and I'll show some I'll start asking the questions. Um, but then like today I found out that what I was showing was kind of like the wrong question to ask. And I needed to look somewhere else in the doc because I'm asking questions about documents and where to find things in documents. Um, yeah, so I guess um, I don't know how to. I guess a mindset of how to be adaptable and quickly like keep up um, as I'm not in control of the conversation.
So are these meetings that you call, or these are meetings that you're just a participant in?
These are meetings that I call.
All right. So why don't you have control of it? Like, I know you mentioned maybe you have some folks that are higher up, but do you set the agenda?
Yes. Yeah. So maybe I should. I feel like, yeah, no, that's a good point.
How many of these have you had to conduct, and are they increasing in frequency because of some changes?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah. So good point. I think I definitely could have been stronger and said, can we, like, this is important and I want to hear you say this, but I really need to go over this list with you, or I feel like I do. So can we please continue with the list? Um, maybe something like that.
So that makes me feel like you're saying you start in a direction, but maybe it gets off a little bit, and
Yeah.
you need to rein it back in.
Yeah. I think it's that. I don't think we get off. I think what we talk about is really like what we talked about today was super important. And like if we hadn't talked about it, that yeah, it details wouldn't have been looked at and we probably would have lost that bid. But I had a hard time like getting back on track after that was done because it was such a big thing that I didn't see or that I missed. And that kind of like changed the trajectory of where my day went because I needed to review more thoroughly. Um,
So what does it look like when you start that meeting? Like, do you have a written agenda in front of you,
yeah,
and you have point one, point two, point three, or ABC, however you do those?
yeah. I mean, I sent a list, like a bullet pointed list of items, not necessarily in a certain prioritized order. So that might be a good idea to do that. But I mean, I sent a bullet pointed list over Slack, and I had that up next to me as we were going through the meeting.
Yeah. So everybody can see it. I mean, everybody knows where you are on the agenda itinerary for the most part.
Well, no, that's good. I mean, no, I had that on my screen.
Oh, that's on your screen. Not
Yeah,
okay. Not on.
you couldn't see that. Yeah,
Well,
that's a good point.
how many screens are up?
Just one. Well, two. So I've
Mirror.
got my Zoom screen like in front of me, and then I'm sharing my second screen. And yeah, but like on on my Zoom screen, I've got that split between like the Zoom and then Slack, like with my agenda.
Yeah. So have you been in some meetings with similar people when you weren't the one running the meeting, and it looked like, hey, I want to run a meeting like that, or do you have a vision of what this would look like?
It's a really good question. Yeah, I think my vision it would be hmm, I think it would be conducting it all in Zoom, like with detailed notes, maybe some links to the pages that I'm looking at, um, and maybe instead of sharing my screen, like maybe sharing my screen and keeping the agenda on that screen, like big, where we can like keep that at the forefront,
Mm,
and then like each person going through the document that we're reviewing together. Because in Google Docs you can do that. You can live edit. Two people can live edit a document at the same time.
yeah.
Um, and then like once as you go, then I check off each thing, and we see it like live on the screen.
So you mentioned a while ago, you said maybe you should send out these links. All right, let me ask you this. Can I offer a suggestion? I have your permission to offer a suggestion.
Yeah.
I mean, this may be elementary in mind, okay, but it may not be.
Okay.
You may be way ahead of me on this. Could your agenda have those links on them so that you're constantly going between where you're linking to back to the agenda,
Mm,
so that everyone's staying on track. You can hover back and forth.
yeah. No, but I think I know what you're talking about. I don't know how exactly that would work, but the idea of that is
Well,
really
like,
good.
okay, number one is we're going to look at a Google Sheet. Okay, so that's number one on your itinerary agenda, and then right below that you have the link. So when you even though you're share screening, you click on that link and it's drawn up. Now that's your shared screen, even though it's shared document. They have access to it and can edit it too. But then when you're ready to go to the next item, you go
You just
back.
go back.
You go to number two.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. And like have that as a live document that changes every day, and like having that on my home screen or my home base. Um, it's a really good idea.
So when you meet, you feel like there's validity in that meeting. Like you need to meet.
Yeah, I definitely needed to meet today because I needed clarification on some answers in this document I was working in, um, which was it was a technical scope of work for a school district, um, and they were asking us a lot of questions about what we can offer them, like for our product, and there's a lot in there that as I'm reviewing, and this is where the multitasking has been difficult. I feel like it's been crazy these past 2 weeks. Like I can't sit down and review something. I don't I don't feel like I have the time, like distraction free, obligation free, like to just sit down and go through a document and prepare questions and prepare notes. I do my best, and I you know spend as much time as I feel like I have to review something, and then I'll send questions. But this meeting was really helpful for me because I needed to align with this leader on some legal stuff that I didn't understand, and I was getting like instructions from our legal team on how to do a task, and it sounded like if we didn't do it, we would lose the bid, and I didn't really understand what was happening. So getting clarification on that was very important.
Yeah.
And then also getting clarification on those answers that I didn't know or didn't understand now puts me in a better place to have a more prepared scope of work for his review tomorrow, um, to like stay on track for that. And so I think it was beneficial. I just feel like maybe it could have been more organized because I feel like this leader's life is so chaotic, and he's so busy all the time. And just to be as organized as I can be, I want to do that. I just feel like I'm also so busy, and it's been so chaotic. Um, but that's why I want to spend time doing this so I can think about these things
Mhm.
and how to improve in the future.
Yeah. Well, it's commendable. I mean, really, to these 30-minute sessions or whatever they end up being, these sessions, I should say, are dedicated time that you save and you protect to move the needle, to you know help yourself and brainstorming. That's what just a think partner. And I don't understand your work, but I understand systems and communication, and so that's what this is about, an organization.
Mm-hmm.
So you said your manager is going to review this tomorrow. Is that involve a is there a Zoom meeting with that, or when is your next? Is there one planned?
Yeah, so um, I don't. We'll probably not Zoom again for a good bit. Um, we He'll review tomorrow at noon. I'm actually out of office tomorrow, and I actually still have work to do on this document. I'm gonna work tonight through it, but it's close. Um, but yeah, he's gonna review that tomorrow and leave comments. It's due to be submitted next Wednesday, so we'll edit it. I'll edit it on Monday morning, and yeah.
Yeah. So so it doesn't. It's not the work that you have questions about right now. I mean, that we're talking about. I mean, it's not the actual content, because you're not asking me for help for that, because I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's the it's the mindset, it's the task oriented, getting things done and prepping for some of these meetings.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's that and something that I have got to do, but that I don't know where I could fit it in is getting myself organized, like my workflows and updating our documents because we've submitted, man, let's see here. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy, I guess, 3 weeks. We submitted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 proposals in the past 2 weeks, which typically we might submit like, I don't know, 1 or 2 every 2 weeks.
Wow.
We have 2 due tomorrow and another 4 due next week.
So you have fewer people
Fewer people.
and you're putting out more
Yeah.
proposals.
Yeah.
So you've got a deadline. I mean, he's reviewing it at noon. You still have something, you said, to edit.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, right.
So, and you have something due next Wednesday, maybe where this is going to be submitted.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens if you don't, if Zach doesn't meet a deadline?
Well, if Zach doesn't meet a like submission deadline, that's not good. I mean, that hasn't happened yet. But deadlines, like soft deadlines throughout the process, they can move around. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
So
No,
you
that's not
have,
communicated to me.
I mean, I would imagine it's obvious to those in your workplace that maybe you're reporting to that the volume has increased.
Yeah,
Have
it
there,
is.
have there been conversations about that?
Not many. I mean, there have been, but it hasn't. And yeah, um, I've my coworker Christina and I were about the same age, kind of on the same level. We've I don't know. I've just been trying to get everything done, but she has had meetings with our manager asking to take some things off her plate, but nothing has happened. Um, yeah,
Hmm. Are you?
we're
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
we're we're trying to streamline things, and we have a lot of content in writing um, in our repositories. The trouble is that it takes a long time to find it. Sometimes,
Yeah.
other times it's easier. Um, yeah, so
Let me ask you this, Zach. Are you still able to take care of yourself? I'm talking about outside of work.
yeah, I got groceries today.
You got to eat.
I'm trying to.
Yeah. Because an empty cup can't cool anybody else off with water.
Yeah,
And I know from your conversations you had more put on you lately, and you obviously it sounds like you've stepped up from going from 1 to 2 proposals every week or two to 7 plus. To me that sounds like workload has at least tripled, if not 7 times, sevenfold.
yeah.
Are you working longer hours?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, um,
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I need to have a conversation about that. The reason why I haven't is because they're actually moving me to a different team. Um, they're moving me and one of the sales directors um, to the marketing team, and I'm gonna have a different manager. Like that sales director is now gonna be my manager. Um, and my current manager and my team lead told me that um, like we're we're going to give you more structure um, and that support that you need to succeed. We know you've kind of been flying by the seat of your pants, um, and so this is what we think will be best for you is this move, um, which like was cool and I'm excited, but I haven't talked to them and asked them like, okay, what exactly does that mean? Because that sales director has been on vacation this whole week. He won't get back till Monday, and I don't know when I'm moving over there. So it might warrant a follow up conversation.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I am out of office tomorrow. I'm I am not going to be working tomorrow.
Okay. Well, you're taking a long weekend, huh?
Yeah,
Good. Good.
rest and yeah,
Well, I know we've kind of gone around a little bit in this session, but I mean, if you've if you've if you think about the prepping for these meetings, I mean, do you feel like you have something you can take away and access later to help with this?
yeah, for sure. I think the idea about having the agenda up there and like letting that guide the meeting is I think it's a great idea. I definitely want to use that.
Can I offer one more little advice
Mm-hmm.
on meeting conducting? First of all, I try not to waste people's time, right? If we meet, not for meeting's sake, but you know, if you had a 1 or 2 minute introduction where you're just bang, you come in with a bang, just to set the tone of the meeting. And it doesn't have to be forceful. I mean, it might be lighthearted, it might be a joke, laughter is greater than fear, kind of thing. Um, and people always like to be appreciated. Um, a quick overview of a meeting. Here's what we got to cover without, they can read it, but kind of the main points. And then, okay, let's go.
I think it's a great idea because when I started the meeting today, I was just kind of like, yeah, there wasn't that. It was just like, hey, like, how's it going? How's your day going? Um, and I was curious. Like, he lives in South Carolina or no, North Carolina, so I
Yeah,
just asked him about that for a
yeah,
brief moment.
yeah,
But yeah, maybe not necessarily asking like personal or like small talk questions like that, but just yeah, thinking of a way that personably starts the meeting off strongly.
yeah. Hey, I'm gonna stop this recording and transcription real quick.
Sounds good.